Thanks for joining us today on this segment of Veterans Air. We're going to be talking with and interviewing Chad Deere from 4T4 Racing and Austin Admani. I hope I'm saying your name right, Austin. Austin is with Cannon Recovery, and the way these two guys got together, it's very interesting. So let's jump right into it. So today we are interviewing two unique individuals. We're Chad Deere from 4T4 Racing and Austin from Cannon Recovery. So Chad, you're up first. 4T4 is a racing team.
Yes, sir. It's a racing team. We developed about two and a half years ago. What it was, I've been around racing for about 15 years out of Gator Motorplex before they closed down. My best friend and I built cars together. I sponsored the track out there. And unfortunately, he passed away in a car accident one day. I kind of inquired his kids, raising them, kind of thing. He wanted to get back into racing. That's how he remembered his dad the most, was growing up, working on race cars. So the first car we built was for him, Joshua. That's where the 44 comes from. The 44 is his football number from high school. The T is his father's first initial, Tom. And then, of course, the angel wings and halos, how his father's kind of overlooking him. What we also did was we had him cremated when he passed away. So his biggest thing Josh wanted to do was actually race with his father. So we had a custom urn made that sits in the car that Josh drives. So his father's always with him when he races. So it's kind of sprouted from there. Kind of grew into a bigger thing than we thought it was going to be. We thought it was just going to be just us two. We already got emblems on quite a few cars, probably about 15 out there right now. We're helping sponsor about 3 of them. As it keeps getting bigger and bigger as time goes on, and we want to find a way to kind of put back in the community and kind of give back, basically. So that's when we were looking around for different organizations and
yes, sir. That's where I got involved because you contacted me through Dangerous Dan that you were a racing team and you wanted to wrap your car, and you were actually having difficulty getting any of the organizations out there any traction, getting interested. They couldn't believe, I think, that you were going to go into your own back pocket and wrap your car, and you wanted to put them there, bigger than life to promote that veteran organization. As a veteran, I got to say thank you. Thank you very much. Are you a vet?
No, sir, I am not, unfortunately.
Are you a vet?
I am not. This is a give back piece for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Yep.
Well, my grandfathers were, my nephew, but I skipped the hatch on that one.
You didn't miss anything, trust me.
No, but yeah, we're actually looking for, the reason why we originally contacted y'all is because we wanted something small, something more local, more familiar that could actually be beneficial from someone who's small like us. We're not a huge team. We don't have lots of money, lots of backing, and we actually found Cannon on one of your articles that you had posted. So
we actually have some pictures of the race car. Dick, if you can throw them up. While we're talking, I think that is awesome. Now, this is a family affair?
It's basically a family affair. It's we call him my adopted son. It's basically me and my adopted son. We also have Josh Looper. He's going to be the driver of the car this next year. We chose him as a driver because he is a veteran himself, so we couldn't find anyone that was better suited. We used to race with him out there at Highway 105, and he come across some difficulties where he had to sell off his car and he was unable to race as much. And through getting to know him and talk to him, we learned that when he came back, he had some of the issues that Cannon helps out with. He wasn't fully diagnosed with the PTSD, but his form of coping with everything was racing itself. So we couldn't find a more suited driver, a better person to put behind the wheel of that car.
What type of car is this? And where is it do you race? What type of racing is this?
The racing is going to be, this car here is strictly going to be the asphalt racetrack out at HMP.
HMP?
Houston Motorsports Park. I believe it's off of Westlake Houston Parkway. I have to look that one up. But it's the Texas Short Track Series is what they call it. It's an oval track. Way back today, it was a dirt track back in its time. But this car here is a 2002 Mercury Cougar, and it's basically going to be just eco stock class. So it's take a car, take the window out, take the dash off. Can't really do much tuning to it. It is kind of a very affordable class, entry level for racing.
So all you racing aficionados out there, I will make sure that I do get this year's racing schedule up so you can go out and see 4T4 tear up the track. Now, Austin,
Yep.
how did you two get involved here, and why does he have his car with your Cannon recovery all over it?
That's a question I ask myself all the time. Yeah, that's that whole connection that was divinely engineered. He reached out and we got chatting back and forth and asking some questions, and then hey, send me a logo, and let me know more about what you guys do, and hey, I got something coming, but he would hold the cards a little bit. He wouldn't tip his hand. And I was just like, I don't know what this guy's up to, But we've been engaging, and kind of fast forward to the big surprise. I get these texts one afternoon or one evening, and there's that car, and I was just like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, it was very shocked, right? Surprised, but it's also pretty humbling for a small town organization like we are. To come in contact with a group like 4T4 Racing, and be a part of what they believe in, what they do, and it's been great. I mean, had no idea that this was coming. We didn't do any preliminary bartering or any negotiations. He didn't ask for anything, and he just wants to make us a part of his team, and that's a pretty cool thing.
See, that is uncommon.
Yeah,
because usually when you see an organization or a logo on a race car or whatnot, they're the sponsor. But
Yeah.
that's not what's happening here, is it?
No, quite the opposite. Yeah, it's like they're carrying our logo on the car, and they're literally helping carry us and what we do for veterans in the community.
So what does Cannon Recovery? What is it, and what do you guys do?
Cannon is it's called Cannon Recovery, Transitional Living and Support for Veterans. That's a lengthy name, but essentially what Cannon is, it's a house. It's a house, and we are trying to replicate living at home. Our veterans are all not all duly diagnosed, most of them, but it's or either PTSD or SUD, which is substance use disorder. And so it's, either or. They've been to these inpatient, treatment facilities. They've been through the VA. They've been through other private entities who are now able to service veterans through what's called the Mission Act. They've been in these sterile environments, gaining knowledge of understanding what's going on with them, what's really happening between their ears, being equipped with coping mechanisms, skills, and basically a tool belt to navigate life. What happens more often than not is they leave these places where you're not allowed to, test this stuff out, and they go right back from that sterile environment to home or the environment they came from. And life hits them, like a 9-pound hammer, and it's right. The automatic default kicks in too quick, and they're right back in the mess that they were in. So what Cannon is, it's a home that it's there for, and it's in the name, transition. It's kind of like you get equipped, just like in the military. You get the stuff, you get the weapons and the gadgets and everything else. You got to go get battle tested. You got to see how it works. And that's essentially what we do here. They come and they live. They get to live in a nice, beautiful country house right now on 7 acres in a bass pond. And they get to live amongst their brothers where they're safe and they feel safe and they have that commonality. These guys have walked the same miles we've all walked. And they just get to live life. They get to go to school. They get to go to work. They get out in the community and kind of test these things out, because even while they're here, they're going to have bad days. And we want them to have bad days while they're here. That's the idea. So they know how to navigate those bad days in an environment that's going to promote success, right? So because when a veteran, we all know what happens when a veteran has a bad day when he's out by himself, right? And he's isolated himself. Statistics are there. It doesn't look good.
You can't argue with those statistics.
No, you can't. And that's not
a number of years ago, I got involved through our friend Ashley Taylor,
Yeah, I know Ashley. Yeah.
Ashley, yeah. Ashley got me involved in the Military Veterans Peer Network.
Yes.
As a mentor. And I said, well, what is it that I actually need to do here? And she said, well, there are a plethora of services out there for veterans. And veterans with PTSD, substance abuse problems, things of that nature. But it's a one-size-fits-all.
Absolutely.
What a Military Veteran Peer Network mentor does, what the program is supposed to do, is match a mentor
Yep.
with a veteran and teach him those life skills and teach him those coping skills.
That's exactly
And I think
right.
I think that it's very important for places like yours, like Cannon Recovery, that can provide that safe yet realistic living condition for the veteran. So we've armed them with all these tools, but we didn't show him how to implement those tools.
Exactly right. And you bring up a great point. We know if we're trying to replicate a home, then we have to keep our census, relatively low. I think at one point we've had 12 veterans on property at once, and that seems like a lot. But again, they're coming and going on their own schedule. So in the evening time, it's about the only time everybody's all together. And there's a lot of that camaraderie and things like that. And we have, events and meetings at the house that everybody participates in. But I like what you mentioned too, is that because we keep our census low, we're able to meet the men where they are, and we're able to, provide strength-based support. We cannot. It makes no sense for us to put that one size fit all, put everybody in the same box, because it's not everybody's recovery is exactly like the next man. It's his own recovery, and we're here to support that and how it works for him. There's a lot of different ways to do that. There's a lot of ways to skin that cat, but we just help identify what these guys are good at and nurture that. And so keeping it low, we're able to do that way.
So is this a 501c? Is there a cost to the veterans? How does a veteran get hold of Cannon Recovery and to get into your program?
So we are a 501c3, and that took a little bit of time, but we got there. Yeah, it does. And I'm glad that we got put through the ringer. There's a lot of organizations out there that will tag themselves as helping veterans and things like that. In fact, we had to get a national endorsement from the VFW to actually have the word veteran in our business name. And so
that's the reason you came to my attention.
Yeah, and so that was a gentleman named Dan West. Helped us get all that.
Dan's the man.
Yeah, and he had a great connection with my director of national outreach, Andrew Riddle. And so Andrew goes, I got this. He goes, I'll call Buddy. And so, 501c3. Now we have referral sources. I mentioned that there's a mission act that this administration had signed in, and that what that does is it's alleviated that bottleneck at the VA. And so private institutions can go out and service these veterans, give them that privatized care that is really good. And then so we network with all these groups, and so we'll actually capture a veteran, get them grounded safe. I don't want to say ship them off, but transport them to the inpatient place, and then capture them back on the back end for that transition piece. So we just word of mouth and different referral sources that way. There is a cost for the veteran, and the reason we do it that way is these guys pay rent. That rent, there's a little bit of ebb and flow to that, but anything that's handed out isn't taken seriously. These guys, we're trying to get them back to living life. Now we make it, a flat rate, and it includes, all the, extras that you're going to accrue if you have an apartment on your own.
Soap, toilet paper.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Ramen.
And so, but it starts to promote that idea that I need to, invest in myself. I need to take care of myself. I need to learn, not only the recovery piece of it, but the financial responsibility and everything else that comes on in life, because a huge stressor is money, right? And so learn how to balance that stuff while you're here. And so there's no handouts. There's nothing at Cannon is a handout. It's a hand up.
Outstanding.
And everybody carries their own water.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Now, what's 4T4 Racing getting out of this by sponsoring, if you will, Cannon Recovery? Is this
Absolutely
personal
nothing at
for
all.
you?
Just a way to give back to the community, especially to a veteran. They put their life on the line. There's nothing more honorable for us to be able to help out veterans. Because how safe would we be without them? So it's basically, we owe them everything. They gave up a lot. So
You guys make me feel like I want to go put my uniform back on.
Well, it's groups like 4T4 Racing that shows these guys that the community loves them. For a lot of years, for a better part of a decade, for some of these guys. Most of these guys are, early invasion, OIF, OEF, and so they've late 30s, early 40s, and they've been discharged for a while, but they've been just kind of isolated and not engaging in the community. And now you got an organization and a gentleman that's coming to them, showing, hey, let's come hang out with us. Let's try this out and have some fun, some good sober fun, and it starts to show them that there's some folks out there that genuinely care about them, and it gives them the opportunity to inject themselves into the community and to make friends and expand their networks, and there's a lot of good that is honestly a lot bigger than just the race itself, than just the car. The car is kind of like the icon of what's all happening here, but there's a much bigger thing at work here, and these guys have shown up to a couple things already. They're all chomping at the bit for these races to start, so there's a bigger picture at play.
There is, and this is one of the things that this program and myself as a veteran advocate try to stress to the veterans that I get in front of. Mm-hmm. Look, something inside of you told you to raise the right hand and serve your country. And you did, honorably, and you got out. You got a DD-214 and honorable discharge. That same thing that made you have the desire to serve didn't stop when you took off the uniform. No. And some of your problem maybe is that you're not engaging and being part of your community.
No.
Service to the country goes hand in hand with service to your community. But a lot of these guys, they get out and they are isolated. And you've probably seen it at Canton Recovery. Two veterans will sit there, talk about an experience that's shared, yep, but they can't talk about that experience with somebody that's not a veteran, that hasn't done what they've done, walked their walk.
All the time. Yeah.
The ability to get that veteran reintegrated into his community, transition him, if you will,
right,
is key to their success.
Absolutely.
And each one of these guys and gals coming out of the military service has a very unique set of skills. But coping in the community is not one of those skills that they teach you in the military. And no, it's been my experience that cookie cutter organizations usually do not excel at being able to show that veteran that the skills that they have,
right,
translate into skills that the community needs. I'm not a religious man, but I'm a man of faith. And I tell people all the time, God gave you all the tools that you need to unscrew yourself up. So if you think you're screwed yourself up now, you have all the tools to unscrew yourself. Of course, I'd say it more colorfully.
Sure.
But somebody has to teach them how to use these tools.
That's it.
Somebody has to teach them that you, as an individual, are valued for your skill set, not just because you exist.
No, exactly right. And you bring up another great point. We do have clients or residents that do live on property, but Cannon's we like to think of ourselves, we're bigger than that too. We're a hub. We often invite and have things for the community, veterans in the community to come out and be. Sometimes you're a veteran just doing your 9 to 5 and raising kids and all that kind of stuff, and you need a minute, right? Come hang out on the front porch for a while, and it's good for the guys who are living there, seeing that veteran come and hang out, because you know what, they're watching a man that is getting it done. That's living life, but yet he's able to navigate the waters, right, when things get rough. And for all of us, again, I'm a man of faith. Faith is tough, but seeing is believing, right? And they see this guy, and he is getting it done, and he is living a quote unquote successful life, and that's very motivating for these guys. And then that peer-to-peer that you talked about, there's not much stronger. We do psychotherapy and even bringing on equine therapy now, and we have all the clinical gadgets and components.
Are you working with Henry Resources?
No, we're doing it internally. We have my wife and I have had horses for years, and I grew up that way, and And so when we decided, we're gonna bring this to these guys ourselves, in house. And so we've got, well, I'm not gonna tell you how many horses we have. We have too many. But if anybody needs a horse, let me know. But yeah, so we're incorporating that. But again, the strongest thing is that, like you said, that peer to peer, and there's a bond there that it's unbreakable. It doesn't matter. I mean, it transcends a Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force. Doesn't matter. It's all the same.
Well, Marines are easy. You just give them some crayons; they're happy.
I knew that
Sorry,
was coming.
Jerry. Sorry. I just had coffee with my Marine buddy Jerry, and I felt so bad because we got coffee, but I forgot his Crayolas, and it's like so he didn't get to have breakfast.
That's one of my favorite things to do. The porch is where we spend a lot of our time, and it's fun to because at first, as a civilian, you have to, kind of tread lightly, and after a while, you're kind of included and brought into this world that you don't know as a civilian. You just can't grasp it. But once you kind of get in and are brought in and start to understand the intricacies and how they all operate, the inter branch rivalry it's unbelievable.
Well,
it's a lot of fun.
You see, branches can do that within themselves, interbranch and so forth. But if somebody, if a civilian doesn't,
no. You took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a bunch of brothers. We can talk about ourselves, but better not from the outside coming in. But what I've learned strategically to do is just drop a match and then back out and let them go.
Okay, I'll say this since I ragged on Jerry being in the Marines. Marines tell me that Army is an acronym because the Army loves its acronyms. Do you know what Army stands for?
Lay it on me.
Ain't ready for Marines yet.
That's good. I'm going to have to drop that match a little bit later today.
Yeah, we got a lot of them. So you were saying that the guys are biting at the bit to come out to the races to see you race. Are these guys? Do you get these guys to do things for the pit crew or whatnot? What do you do with them when they come out there?
Well, this car hadn't actually been on the racetrack yet. We got the first test and tune is going to be this Saturday, actually.
Coming up.
And the first race, I believe, is in April. I think you'll have the dates posted. But we had a chance we had them out at the track last year with our other cars, so we hung out with them then. We've hung out with them at the Lost Cajun out there in Cypress. Just a really, really cool bunch. I mean, they're a lot of fun, go-getters. So we'd like to eventually, maybe see if they want to work on the car, they're more than happy to. One of the other cars we're actually working on is going to be a two-seater. So they can actually come out and ride with us and have fun.
Oh,
and
wow.
all that kind of stuff.
So that would be a good. Now,
It's just
you did tell me I could drive it.
just absolutely, absolutely.
We have to take a break here, so we're gonna take a pause. Maybe do an announcement. Maybe check the weather. We'll do something. So hang with us. We'll be right back with more with Cannon Recovery and 4T4 Racing. You're listening to Veterans Air on your Lone Star Community Radio. Okay, we're going to need to take a break real quick, but we'll be back with 4T4 Racing and Cannon Recovery. I wanted to remind you guys that we're live the first Tuesday of every month at 1 p.m. on the Lone Star Community Radio. And if you need to contact us, you can contact us on our Google phone at 936-344-3083 or send us a message through Facebook or on our website, www.VeteransAir.us. Welcome back to Veterans Air. We are talking today with Chad Deere from 4T4 Racing and Austin. I'm going to murder your last name, so I'm not going to say it. From Austin with Cannon Recovery.
Adamy.
What is it?
Adamy.
Adamy.
Adamy, yeah.
Adamy. I'm going to say it wrong from now on, just so you know. So before the break, we were talking with Chad about he's got a two-seater that may hit the track this year.
Hopefully, yes, sir. Hopefully, if finances are right, we are building a two-seater. It's going to be basically just a fun all-around car. Just kind of go out there, make a few laps with it. If the guys want to ride, or even if they want to drive, it won't be actually during the race, kind of thing. We thought about making the original Cannon car a two-seater, but then, racing-wise, that's extra weight, that's extra.
Yeah.
stuff involved in a car setup. So we want
I'm
to keep
not
it simple.
so sure I'd put a veteran behind the wheel. I mean, these guys, they smell of bacon, bourbon, and cigars, and I'm not so sure I'd want them driving my car. I say that I'm just as bad as the rest of them. I have to ask this
Winning
question.
spirit, though.
I have to ask this question. When 44 Racing goes out there and races their car, what's the reaction of the people when they see Cannon Recovery all over your car?
Well,
what are they
actually,
thinking?
we haven't got to do that yet because the car actually has not been on the track yet.
Oh, that's right.
The only racing we've done is the lady down the road's called the cops on us a few times. So we're chomping at the bit to get out on the track as well to see that reaction because the pictures, Facebook, Instagram, it's been blasted on everything, and all we get is just people commenting. A lot of other veteran-owned companies, matter of fact, commented on how awesome the car looks, and they can't wait to see it and see how she does on the track.
So you said you have a Facebook page. What is that?
It's a page where people can go to. It's just 44 Racing on Facebook. They can go to. They can keep up with our schedule, what's going on, what our sponsors are doing, because we couldn't do everything we do without certain sponsors that we have that helped us out along the way. We also have a website, 44racingphotos.com, because we also do track photography from time to time when we're invited out, especially with the 305 SUS group. And what we do is, besides selling those photographs back to the drivers, we actually post them on that website for free. And anybody who donates, of course, those donations go to Cannon as well. They go directly to Austin. I don't even see it. They go straight to his PayPal link.
I'm a photographer, but I specialize in boudoir photography and composites. And you laugh. I'll tell you, I purchased my land and my studio just from proceeds of boudoir photography. There's more out there than you think about. But I've never gotten into racing photography. That's a very specific type of photography. I'm going to have to come out to the track one day and see what it is I can do.
Come out and try it out with us.
I need a new lens. My wife won't let me buy anymore. She says I'm a lens hoe. But you need a very specific lens.
Unfortunately, the lens you need, I'm not the person who knows all the numbers on it. I'm just the person who puts it all together. But the guy that does the photography, both Joshua and Josh have taken photos at 105 and H&P. I do know, unfortunately, the lens that's required for racing is about $2,200.
Good
So
night.
we go rent it from a place out in Houston. We'll need to borrow it for the weekend.
Yeah,
It's a lot cheaper to rent.
Exactly. Borrow Lenses is my friend. BorrowLens.com.
Somebody to donate one.
Speaking of donations, I'm assuming you. I want to say, let me finish. Is 4T4 a business?
No, sir. Just a racing team.
So all of this is self-funded.
Yes, sir.
You guys just pull into your pockets and say, we're going to do this because we feel we have a calling. We feel that we need to give back to our community. And this is how we're going to do it.
Yes, sir. We did have about 4 or 5 sponsors this year that did help us with the purchasing of the wrap. Because it's usually that car, you don't see that intricate detail of a wrap on that style of a car.
It is a beautifully wrapped vehicle. I got to
Usually
say,
you
it's
spray paint
beautifully
some phone numbers on it, some duct tape, and good to go
think it's
kind of
sharp.
deal. But we had a couple of companies come out and help us out on purchasing that and helping out with it. So that's why they're on the car as well for us this year.
I got to tell everybody, I've been chatting back and forth with Chad, and Facebook Messenger is probably the best way because he does respond really quickly to his Facebook Messenger. I got to say that. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
I'm horrible at that. I need to get better at that one.
There are so many ways to contact us here at Veterans Air that I can't keep them all straight. I tell you one, if you want to get hold of me, text me on our in-studio phone at 936-344-3083. Text. We used to take calls, and then we got a call, and we didn't screen it, and Dick's going, yeah, that was interesting. So we no longer take calls. Now we do texts. That's why I keep looking at my phone all the time. See if I have
There
a
you
text.
go.
What about Cannon Recovery? Somebody wants to get hold of you. Austin, how do they do that?
Sure. Facebook as well. I think it's just Cannon Recovery on the Facebook page. We have a website, and that's www.cannon with 2 N's, cannonrecoveryhouse.com. folks think it's .org, and it probably should be, but for whatever reason, it's .com. So CannonRecoveryHouse.com. There's contact information there, emails and phone numbers and whatnot, just as well on the Facebook page. In fact, I got to call our marketing lady, and we need to have a page in the website that just has the car on there.
Yes, you do.
That needs to happen. That needs to happen because it's something else that people can connect with, and we're in Montgomery County, Texas, and grateful for that. There's some good folks around here that like this, kind of fun, and I think this is something they could get behind.
Veterans Air, we're pretty much we're the largest veterans radio program in Montgomery County. We're rated #1. Just because we're the only one, but still, all my 4 listeners, thank you.
Good strategy.
But because we're on the radio, and a lot of people do hear us as they're driving along, we pretty much get to know who's out there, veteran-wise organizations, and what it is they do, what their mission statement is.
Sure.
And I have to tell you, I have never seen a pairing like this. This is like super unique. And I think there's going to be great things for you guys going forward. And I just want to personally thank you for what you're doing for veterans and how you're involved in the community. Wow. Serious kudos. Smack. You okay, Mike?
There's no better privilege and honor, really. There isn't. The veteran piece for us, my nephew, Joshua, same, was one of those statistics, a few years back. And that's really what brought all this to light. For us, and what everybody's talking about it, so we're gonna do something about it. And my wife got behind the idea and supported me through some pretty rough times. It's a little more difficult to start a program like this than I first thought. On paper it looked easy,
doesn't it always?
But no, there isn't. We're again Magnolia, Texas, Conroe, all this area. Montgomery County we could not ask for a better place to be than where we are right now because of organizations and guys like Chad and I mean I think it's going to be a lot bigger than we anticipate now.
Absolutely, I'm hoping so.
Daytona in a couple of years, who knows?
Oh yeah, definitely I'm getting involved. I can do Daytona. Trust me, I can do Daytona in a big way. Let's see if we can get Dangerous Dan to come with us. That'd be a good thing. But getting back to the racing, yeah, those lenses are expensive. But I'm gonna come out to just to see what I can do. If I get anything that's worthwhile, I'll give it to you, of course. But I've never tried that before.
Come on out. Like I said, this Saturday here is actually media day at the HMP track, and then the next test and tune is going to be sponsor day, and then we'll go live with having the actual racing start.
So, Boo, if you're listening, you want to go to the races on Saturday? I'll get her something nice for Valentine's Day. She'll say, yeah, sure, why not? That's right. Yeah, hey, that's right. That's right. So, if somebody wanted to sponsor Cannon House or sponsor 4T4 Racing, you still got room for sponsors?
Well, absolutely. Never enough room for sponsors. There's always more room. I'm almost certain that Cannon would be more beneficial from having sponsors than we are. It's grateful, but I'd rather money go to them first.
Well, you're a 501c. You can't take a sponsor. You only can take a donator.
That's right.
I guess there's a difference.
Donations.
Yep. 501c is. I work with a lot of 501cs.
It's a different animal.
It's tricky sometimes.
We'll gladly and proudly display who comes to support Cannon and things like that. With every vehicle that there is, social media, websites, and radio, things like this. But I think we could find some of these donors who have that passion for racing too, and kind of spread load that support across both organizations.
I think that's a no-brainer to get a sponsor that automobile wise, but also wants to be involved in the veteran community. This is like a marriage made in heaven. I'm sitting here thinking, damn, this can't fail.
Oh no.
Well, if it goes in the direction I'd like to see it go, I know one of our final goals is actually, and maybe a sponsor do that one day, is actually have a Canon car at Cannon, that those guys, he's told me that there's mechanics there, that there's body people, that all those guys have such awesome traits already. And eventually the ending goal that I'm trying for is a car that's at Cannon, that's Cannon's car. Their guys goes and actually drives it and works on it, builds it, and that gives them something to do therapeutical. It's just the money's not there right now. So, but that is the ending goal.
So, Chad, you have a dream, don't you, Chad?
So I've got goals and dreams as to stuff in line, but
he and I haven't had a chance to sit down and talk like this, and so I'm learning as you are right now. I'm like, damn, that's a really good idea.
He's really tight-lipped, isn't he?
Man, this guy's thought all this through.
Yeah.
There's a method to this. I like it. That's exciting. But that's exactly you get these guys something to do, something they're good at and they're passionate about. You give them opportunity in a mission, and there goes the opportunity for idle mind.
Absolutely.
They've occupied themselves.
I have a day job, and she sponsors this. She's actually sponsored the show for the past 2 years we've been on. My boss over at East Meets West Productions does a lot of things for the veteran community. And one of her biggest beefs with me is that I'm too mission oriented. It's like, give me a mission, go away, I will complete that mission. But, I need a task. Yes. I need a mission. I need a purpose.
Yes.
And working with the veterans, that's a lot of what I think they're missing, their purpose. They can't figure out what their purpose is.
Huge.
For so many years, they'd wake up, do PT, go to chow, go to what they're supposed to do, grab a weapon and fill a sandbag. That was their purpose. But they get out, and nobody's told them what their purpose is when they get out. They just, give you a hearty handshake and a pat on the back, and you go back to your wife and your 2 kids and go, now what?
What now? Yeah, exactly.
So how long can they stay at Transition House, at Cannon House?
There's no graduation by design. Like I mentioned this earlier. There's every man his own. Every man's recovery is his own. Every man is going to be onboarded with unique problems, or always having to deal with other issues that another man may not. And so it's open ended. It's really when we all feel that the veteran is ready to kind of just take that next step. So some guys have been there, I'd say an average time 3 or 4 months, is about a good time to kind of build the beginning of a foundation for a life and long-term recovery. We've had guys that have been there for 14 months, and it's not that they're just there because they don't want to go anywhere else. They're actively pursuing a better life for themselves, and as long as they're doing that, they're welcome to stay. And we've, like I said, we've seen guys go, around that year mark. Now we've had guys that can do it a little quicker, and great for them too. So it's just, again, it's a case by case basis.
Now, do you teach them a life skill, or are you partnered with other organizations that come in and teach them a life skill? How to balance a checkbook, how to not feed your kids something other than ramen every day. How does this transition work?
So there's a lot of different components to it. We have programming in place for some things. Like I mentioned psychotherapy earlier. These guys have the ability through a partner of ours called Life Giving Life. It's another 501c3 in Montgomery, and they're a great group of clinicians, and so that's where they go and do their one-on-one stuff, and they also do some group process work there. We had a lady come in from Texas A&M Ag Life and did a nutrition class, and they hated
I've
that.
taken that class.
Because they're like, I gotta know,
Yeah, the first thing she tells you is that ramen is not in the food group.
Exactly.
Do you have any idea how much sodium is in there?
No,
yeah.
Exactly. And we've got we've also have alliances or partnerships with groups that can come out and help. Show these guys how many different services there are. A group called Combined Arms out of Houston.
Yep. The general started one up here in Montgomery County, right?
I was talking to him this morning. General Hummer.
Yep. He's got an invitation in general, and that's both you, General Hummer, and General McNabb. Y'all, you have an open invitation. Just need to call me and let me know when you want to be on.
And he will take that. And in fact, we may have to do that because we have an event that we're going to do. In fact, this morning we were talking about a date. We're maybe settling on May the 2nd, and it's going to be a Veteran Connect event. It's not a fundraiser. It is just we're going to all get together. We may do it at Outback Western in Magnolia out there, Dobbin Huffsmith, I think. and just have a day of, barbecue music, and just have all the different groups that are in the area that support and can support veterans come out. And then, of course, invite the veterans and their families to basically expose, all the different services that are out there and available to them. And that's exactly what, Combined Arms does. They're a hub of, I think, over 72 different organizations across Houston. And, of course, General Hummer's driving to have an HQ up here in the Montgomery County area and doing a great job of that. So that's going to be coming up. So we'll get back to you on information. It'd be a lot of fun.
Definitely.
To have him in here.
With Dick has helped me out and set up my laptop, my tablet, so I can actually go live or do a podcast remotely now.
Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
So definitely keep me in the loop. I'll come out and set up my little Veterans Air table and do a remote.
That'd be great. That'd be super great.
We've done a number of different remotes with the podcast, and it seems to go really, really well. People just stop by the tent, sit down, tell us what it is that they do, and it's very informational, very informal.
And you learn something new all the time that way.
All the time.
I mean, there's a lot of folks out there that want to help. They really are. But there's just, you have to have a platform to.
A lot of them just don't know how.
And that's exactly right. That's a huge piece
I couldn't
of
tell you how many hours of research and calls, and a lot of people just they want something in front of them, and that kind of deal. And we did research for months. I want to say almost 6 months.
Wow.
Before we chose Canon.
Wow.
When you contacted me, I'm banging my head against the wall going, because I'm making these calls going, hey, I got this race car that wants to rap, and they're not asking anything from you. They just want to promote you. And it's like, they couldn't comprehend this. That somebody was just, someone's going to advertise us on their race car? Yeah, well, what's he get? He feels good about it.
We were turned down by a couple places, actually, so.
Well, they will remain nameless, but they know who they are.
I would like to personally thank those organizations right now, whoever you are, because that works out really well.
That reminds me, I got to give a shout out. I have to give a shout out to Carly's Mercantile right next door to the radio station, Lone Star Community Radio, here on Main Street. For the coffee and the cookies, thank you so very much. Let me rephrase it. One cookie. Darling, I only had one cookie. It really won't raise my blood sugar that much. My wife worries about me. I'm just slightly diabetic.
I'm not good with one of anything. That's moderation. I don't do that well.
Well, did you know that there's actually never a wrong time to eat a cookie?
I would totally support that.
Somebody once told me that, yes, it is. You can't eat a cookie in a shower. And I told them, well, they're an amateur. Because a professional cookie eater would know that they lean out, take a bite of cookie, lean back in.
Yeah. You keep the fingers somewhat
That's right.
dry,
That's right. There's never a wrong time for a cookie.
That's a good point.
It is a good point.
Yeah, I'll show up for cookies.
There you go.
Where am I at? Time-wise, let me look and see. I got a couple of minutes left, just 2 actually. So, before I go, you each get a minute. Austin, what do you want to tell our 4 listeners?
We're gonna grow the number. We're gonna grow the number.
I joke about that, but we actually have a lot of listeners. We have listeners from as far away as Hawaii. I got a comment from a listener in Serbia, of all places.
Really?
Because Lone Star Community Radio is also internet radio.
Yeah.
It goes out to the world. We're on Facebook Live. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud.
Oh, good.
We got podcasts, archives going back and forth. So not everyone listens on the day of the transmission, but they always go back and they listen afterwards. Okay. So yeah, we do have a rather large following, I like to say.
Well,
so what would you say to the people out there listening? You have 1 minute.
Please reach out. Feel free to contact myself, contact Andrew. Our numbers are on the website. Again, that's CannonRecoveryHouse.com. Shoot us a text, email, carrier pigeon, whatever. Just reach out to us. A lot of folks don't know that they can help. If they want to make a monetary donation, I'm not going to get in their way. Of course, we'd love to have that kind of support. But there's a lot of folks out there that don't have monetary capabilities or giving. And so, a lot of folks like to come out and cook. A lot of folks like to just come out and just be, or help, do some volunteer projects around the property. And there's a lot of ways that the community can get involved. And I would say that some of the most powerful donations that we've had thus far have just been a cup of coffee on the front porch with somebody, and just that connection and talking and things like that. So Yeah, please reach out, all the social media, and give us a holler. We do need support, no doubt about it. You know, we're in the grand scheme of things a brand new 501c3. We are in fact going through a transition of our own. We are currently on Spur 149 in Magnolia. It's been a beautiful place for us. It's 7 acres and a bass pond. It's been great, and it served us well. Unfortunately, we outgrown that place. I'll just quickly mention Carol Brady. Congressman Brady's sister is the executive director of a place called Home Aid Houston, and they're also in partnership with the GHBA, which is the Greater Houston Builders Association. They have selected us as their 2020 project to build us a facility.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and that's been, that mind-blowing. And we're actively looking for dirt to put it on. And so that is on the horizon. It's right here, right now, actually. And so if anybody's, just got, a ranch laying around, something like that, they're not doing anything with, give me a holler. That'd be great. Somewhere 25, 30 acres, cross-fenced.
You've heard it here. You've heard it here first. There is somebody out there. There's somebody out there listening right now that's sitting on a parcel going, you know what? I could take that tax write-off.
That's exactly right.
We had the Accounting Wise guys here last month. We had the Accounting Wise guys here and talking about veterans taxes, donations, and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. So remember last month's show, y'all. Somebody out there, you have something that County Recovery probably needs. Yeah. So give them a call.
Yeah.
Chad.
Well, let's see. The first race, make sure y'all come out and see it, is going to be on April the 18th. It is the Houston Motorsports Park, and they're located at 11620 North Lake Houston Parkway. So make sure on April the 18th, y'all come out and see the Cannon Recovery car number 22. We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors at all.
Absolutely.
The people that definitely made us help make this happen is Caraway Pest Control, Carlton Anderson, Hans's Crawfish in Cypress, which is one of the best places to get crawfish, by the way. The Lost Cajun in Cypress, they got some of the best gumbo around.
I do like some gumbo.
Everyone loves gumbo. Kevin Scott with Mac Tools. I believe it's and 777 Travel out of Willis.
Outstanding.
So they're the ones that can help make all this possible for us.
So April 18th, I have to ask a question. If we show up April 18th, we get anything special? Like, can we take a picture with the car?
Absolutely. Just get text me beforehand because it'll be back there in the pits, of course.
Absolutely.
So we'll get with the owner. Shoot.
I'm going to bring Dangerous Dan with me and make him wear his Veterans Air shirt. And we're going to get pictures of the car.
And speaking of that, actually, Race on Texas, they're actually doing a biography on the car. They'll be getting with Austin and Cannon Recovery as well. And so there'll be a video made over the car. They're going to start doing the filming Saturday for it.
Make sure you get that to me. I'll cross-post it over to Veterans Air.
Absolutely.
Guys, I want to thank you so very, very much for being here, taking your time out to talk to the veterans in the community at large here in Montgomery County about 4T4 racing, County Recovery, and what you do two together. I think I'm just like stoked. This is going to be great.
This guy's driving, not to use a pun, but he's driving it. I mean, he's making all this happen, and we're honored and privileged to be along for the ride. So
that you guys just got together is just like magic. And what you're doing in the community, Chad, Austin, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for giving us this time to chat.
Anytime. We'll have to have you come back after you get to your new place.
Yeah.
And after you win your first race, you need to come back and bring the big old trophy in here.
Absolutely.
We'll bring General Hummer in here, too.
Yeah.
I bet he's got some good stories.
Both of the generals, Hummer and McNabb, they have a standing invitation to come out, but their schedule is really, really packed. It really is. Really packed. But he did a presentation with the VFW month before last, I think, talking about Combined Arms. They actually have a new website that they're opening up, Combined Arms /MC, I think it was.
I think that's it.
Yeah, hopefully this year they'll open up a center out here in Montgomery County.
Hopefully soon.
So, guys, thanks for being on Veterans Air. And for y'all that are listening to me or watching me on the podcast, stay tuned. We'll be back after this, and we'll do our In the News, maybe some commentary, and I'll let you know what's happening in March. You're listening to Veterans Air. Well, that about wraps up the show for right now. We're about out of time, but I did want to thank Chad from 4T4 Racing and Austin from County Recovery for coming in and spending some time with us today. You guys are doing great work out there. Keep up the good work. For the rest of y'all, Don't forget to listen to our show coming up on March 3rd at 1 p.m. right here on Lone Star Community Radio.